Well, a brand new addition to the president's legal team, attorney Joe diGenova. He's argued actors within the Justice Department are trying to take down the president of the United States.
This is the single most important scandal of the last 50 years because senior DOJ and FBI officials engaged in conduct that was designed to corrupt an American presidential election. It wasn't the Russians who corrupted the presidential election. It was the American officials at the Department of Justice and the FBI.
Let's talk about it with tonight's panel. Adrian Elrod, former director of strategic communications for Hillary Clinton. Charlie Hertz is the opinion editor for the Washington Times and a Fox News contributor. And Katie Pavlich, Fox News contributor and townhall.com editor. Great to see all of you tonight.
Good evening.
Hi, Shannon.
Thank you, Shannon.
Okay, so talking about this edition now of Joe diGenova, The Hill today says that adding diGenova suggests Trump wants to go more on the offensive, given diGenova's past statements arguing that investigations of Trump are meritless. The New York Times said he represents an aggressive presence on the team. What do you say, Katie?
Yeah, I think that he certainly has a record in Washington, D.C. of being somewhat of a bulldog. And as the Mueller investigation gets closer to the White House, not in the sense of any wrongdoing, but just in the sense of wrapping up the investigation, the president wants everyone on his team who can defend him against any kind of allegation that the Mueller probe brings. And looking at the fact that we are now a year and plus into this, and when all of the indictments that have come down are unrelated to Russian collusion or the presidential election of 2016, I think the president is doing what he thinks is best in terms of defending himself and making sure he is covered on all bases, and bringing him in as a Washington, D.C. veteran and getting in the dirt, knowing how politics works in that town is probably not a bad idea.
Yeah, and Adrian, clearly the president is going on the offensive. I mean, the tweets this weekend, not restrained.
Yeah, not restrained in the least. That's exactly right, Shannon. Look, I think it's clear that President Trump is staffing up. This investigation continues to ramp up by the day. He's obviously adding more to his legal team, and he's adding somebody who agrees more ideologically in his views that there is a deep state that exists within government. So it's no surprise that he's adding attorneys. This also may have to do with the fact that John Dowd made some controversial comments this past weekend about hoping that Rosenstein will end the Mueller investigation now that McCabe is gone. So, you know, there's no telling exactly why he's doing this, really, but it does seem that a lot of this has to do with the fact that the investigation is ramping up.
Well, and Charlie, someone argued that they think the investigation is winding down. We don't know, because we're all in the dark kind of waiting for this thing. But you had a piece out yesterday where you talk about the fact that you think that this Mueller investigation, the questioning of Trump's legitimacy, whether he colluded with Russia, all of this, you think you called it a trap that was set before he was even elected.
Well, certainly at the very least, it's a new standard for a president. You know, it used to be, or we've for a long time all agreed upon the way we elect a president. And now we have a new standard for this president, and that is after he gets elected, after he wins the Electoral College, after he wins the primary, after he wins 60 million plus voters votes, we're going to now launch a bogus investigation into everything under the sun that has no limits, and we're going to let the FBI, we're going to let these career investigators, you know, and I'm not criticizing the FBI in general, but we're going to let these people conduct sort of a background check to tell us whether or not this can be our president. It's patently absurd, and no way to run elections.
All right, I want to get all of you to respond to these job offers that were floated by Democratic lawmakers for Andrew McCabe, because, you know, as a result of him being fired, it's potentially he's going to lose a big chunk of his pension, if not all of it, unless he obtains other federal employment. I don't know the details, but, you know, there's some speculation that these job offers might be a way to solve that problem from him. One of them came from Congressman Gutierrez tweeting this: to Andrew McCabe, if you need a federal job, call me on Monday. I am serious. We have to stand up to bullies like real Donald Trump and Jeff Sessions. Hashtag resist, twill, Andrew McCabe fired, hashtag stand up to bullies. You know, it goes on and on. So Charlie, I'll start with you. What do you make of it?
Well, just if you ask me, it goes to show just how politicized the whole thing has been from the very beginning. It has nothing to do with justice. It has nothing to do with finding out about Russia's involvement in the election. It has nothing to do with any of that. We could have done all of that in a very nonpartisan way. What it really has to do with is people want to go after Donald Trump, and it's truly a weaponization of the FBI. And of course, they were all far too many people in the FBI were far too willing to go along with that weaponization, and so we wind up with this, where you have a guy tossed out for apparently lying to FBI officials and then lying to Congress about it, and then people in Congress are scrambling to give him a job. It's insane.
Okay, I need to get quick reaction from Katie and Adrian on that issue of these job offers. Adrian, first to you.
Yeah, look, I mean, I think that this is obviously a way for, Seth Moulton and some of these guys to get a little bit of press. I don't know if they're necessarily saying that this is in jest or if they're truly meaning it. But, the real issue here is, first of all, we don't know why exactly McCabe was fired. I mean, we know that Jeff Sessions fired him. We have not seen the IG report that came out because it has not come out yet. But this was recommended. His firing was recommended by the Office of Professional Conduct, which is an independent agency within the Department of Justice. So, we got to see what happens and see what happens when this comes out. But I do think that some of these guys, Seth Moulton, some of these Democrats who have said this, think that perhaps it was a cheap shot that Andrew McCabe was fired 36 hours before he would have received his full pension.
Okay.
Well,
okay,
yeah.
Katie, quickly to you.
Yeah, quickly. I just think that it's disservice to the country for Democrats to be coming out on the side of corrupt government officials. Andrew McCabe is being treated just like other FBI agents inside his agency who have been referred by the Inspector General, by the Office of Professional Responsibility, to lose his job for breaking the rules and potentially breaking the law. And for them to come out in his defense when it's a matter of accountability for a government official really is telling about which side of this that they're on.
All right, panel, stick around. We'd love to have you come back to talk about some other topics, but that's it for now.